I recently picked up the 15-inch Samsung Notebook 9 Pro with 8th Gen Intel Kaby Lake-R, 256GB of SSD, 16GB of RAM, and AMD Radeon 540 graphics. The Notebook 9 Pro is sleek and practical. It has 360-degree hinge so it can be flipped in tablet mode. On the left side, there is headphone jack, USB-C, HDMI, and AC port. The power supply is a bulky brick. On the right side, there's two USB-A 3.0, micro SD slot, and a protruding power button, which I immediately changed the function from sleep to turn off display because it is too easy to accidentally push it. On the front, there is a slot for the S Pen. There are vents located on the back and the bottom. It gets pretty warm, especially while working on your lap when the vents are covered. The fan is audible, but not overly loud. Left and right speaker grills are poorly located in the bottom, leading to muffled sound. All this comes in at 3 pounds 12 ounces, making it a remarkably light machine for its 9.4 by 13.7 inch footprint. The display is adequate for most usage. Color rendition and brightness is brilliant, however the 1920 by 1080p resolution is a letdown for a 15-inch machine. This means the display has a pixel density of only 146 ppi. For reference, the much smaller Galaxy Book 12 has 216 ppi. Also, the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, while ideal for playing video, is less desirable for work, especially in the portrait mode. What I would like to see is Samsung reduce the huge bottom bezel to bring it in line with the three other slim bezels. The glossy screen is also a magnet for smudges and fingerprints. The i7-8550U was able to handle the most processor-intensive tasks I threw at it. It ran Adobe Photoshop and Premiere Pro smoothly even while editing 4K footage. Surprisingly, the dedicated graphic only kicks in sporadically while running Adobe apps. It does run consistently when running a PS2 emulator, and that's the extent of the gaming that I do. Perhaps it is underutilized by me, but it's good to know that the GPU is available when I need it. Despite the abundance of power, I do frequently get the Radeon cursor, which I have yet to figure out why. The Wacom EMR digitizer still has a slight edge over its AES and N-Trig counterparts. The difference is negligible to me, but I do appreciate that it works with my existing EMR pens. However, there's no calibration, so you're stuck with any offset that other pens may have. The S Pen is perfectly calibrated out of the box and minimizes the problems that plagued previous EMR digitizers before, such as jittery corners, parallax, and lag. It has no issue with jitters in slow diagonal lines or lags in long continuous strokes. I don't even mind the diminutive size of the S Pen, although I do wish it was round. What bugs me is a single button that pulls up the air commands. I immediately disable the Samsung Pen service and use the radio menu app to remap the button to right-click. The full-sized backlit keyboard has good travel and is reasonably quiet. There's a vertical column on the right-hand side for navigation keys. This seems like a bonus, but I found that I'm so used to tapping the very edge for the enter and backspace button that now I keep hitting the navigation keys instead. This also offsets the keyboard from the trackpad. The trackpad is a single piece and there's no visible divide between the left and right mouse button. This combined with the offset keyboard makes it a little unnatural to right click because if I drag my right thumb straight down, I'm still clicking on the left side of the trackpad. I'm sure this is something that I'll adapt to over time, but it's still annoying. The machine comes pre-installed with a buttload of Samsung bloatware, most of which you can uninstall. But the Samsung setting actually includes a useful battery extender that limits the charge to 85%. I've always known that topping off the battery reduces longevity, but never been obsessive enough to actually unplug it at 85%. At 85% and 100%, I get about 5 and 6 hours respectively. This is with moderate brightness and performance setting while running productivity apps. You'll likely see more if you're only doing web browsing. The 15-inch Notebook 9 combines many sought-after features. It has a 2-in-1 design, a Wacom EMR digitizer, quad-core processor, and a dedicated GPU. Where Samsung dropped the ball is the area where they usually excel, the display. They didn't include a high pixel density or infinity edge display like you see in many of their other tablet and mobile devices. I could accept the 1080p resolution on a smaller 13-inch version, but then you're limited to only 8GB of RAM and Intel HD 620 graphics. For those who don't mind a modest display, the 15-inch Notebook 9 Pro offers the most bang for the buck at the moment.